The shadow behind it happened to Mark when he was 22. He was renting an old house on the outskirts of a small town. The house was cold, creaky, and dark, especially in winter. Mark didn't believe in ghosts, so he paid no attention to the rumors about an old woman who had once lived there and mysteriously vanished without a trace. The first month passed without incident, except for strange noises at night. Creaking doors, faint whispers, as if someone were talking to themselves. Mark decided it was just the wind and didn't worry about it. But one evening, he came home late and noticed an old mirror had appeared in the hallway. A mirror he was certain hadn't been there before. It was large, with a faded wooden frame that showed signs of age. Mark assumed the landlord had left it there, and, thinking nothing of it, went to bed. That night, he was awakened by a strange sound, like fingernails scratching glass. He turned on the light, but saw nothing, just the dark mirror in the hallway reflecting the faint glow of his lamp. Mark walked closer and suddenly noticed something strange in the mirror. It reflected him, but behind him, there was a figure that wasn't in the room, a tall, thin shadow with unnaturally long, twisted arms. Its face was stretched into a horrifying grin. Mark turned around. Nothing. He looked back at the mirror. The shadow was closer now. His heart raced. He turned off the light and shut his eyes, trying to convince himself it was just his imagination. But a few seconds later, he heard something heavy slowly stepping across the floor. The footsteps stopped right next to his bed. Mark was too afraid to open his eyes. In the darkness, he could hear the shadow breathing heavily, as if savoring his fear. And then he heard a whisper, "You looked." Right after those words, the mirror in the hallway shattered with a deafening crash. The next morning, Mark left the house. He told his friends the story, but no one believed him. What truly terrified him, though, was that sometimes, in the reflections of windows or shop fronts, he could still see the same shadow. And it was getting closer.